Welcome to this webinar on digital learning hubs. My name is Leanne Pantjes and I'm a digital learning consultant at Capgemini Academy. During this half an hour, I will bring this concept of digital learning hub to you. I will explain it, but before I start, I will actually want to introduce myself. Why do I love learning and development? The last few days, I've been on a course in France for Capgemini Global. It was about leadership. What is your vision on learning for myself? As you can see in the pictures, I'm always looking for connections to others. I'm looking for insight from others. I'm looking for the challenge in myself as I cycle upon the mountain, but also in my work and in my personal life. But I need the support of others to help me grow. And that's what I saw the last few days in the course. The theme of the week was digital, agile, and upskilled. I think it's important to realize, to see what digital development we can use in our work and in our learnings, but also to be adaptable to the environment around us. And by upskilling, by acknowledging and getting more knowledge and skills for myself in the learning and development field, I will challenge myself to get to the next level. So let's start with this webinar on digital learning hubs. First of all, I would like to ask you via a poll, what trend is vital for your digital transformation? As you can see, Capgemini has stated 5 important trends, or principles as you could say, that can be applicable to your organization. The first one is connecting the learner across the ecosystem. Do you think it is important to get an ecosystem, to connect people, to get the learning and development done? The second one is one size fits one. How important is it to you to have personalized learning interventions? Third one is about integrating learning into the workplace. The fourth one is to curate content, so assemble information that is needed to get you to the next level. And the fourth one is to prepare people to the speed and agility that is asked from their environment and in their role. So what do you think is the main aspect in developing people? We will move on and go into depth during this webinar, and I will come back to it later on. So the topics that we want to discuss are what's in the name? Why do we call it a digital learning hub? Digital is here to stay. What developments are important as we look at the world around us that supports or not supports learning? Where to start? So I know that there are many developments going, but what is the next step for us as an organization, but also as a person itself? I will also explain something more about the Digital Learning Hub solution. And at the end of the webinar, I will get a short recap of what we have discussed, and I will get to your questions. If you want to ask a question, please raise it via the orange button in your screen. Also, if you have any comments. So what's in the name? The Digital Learning Hub name or term does start with digital. And as you can see in the picture, the little girl is not afraid of the robot. So as I see a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old playing with technologies, integrated into their lives, integrated in their development, we shouldn't be afraid of it. But it is a main aspect of work and learning nowadays. How do we cope with it? How can we develop ourselves in that digital era? And then we maybe get a little itchy or we get a little unheimlich, as we say it. We want to overcome the gap. We see knowledge and skills that are needed. We see new technologies, systems, processes rising up in our work. And we need to go with it. We need to develop ourselves on these digital topics, in new technologies. We have to adapt ourselves quickly. But how are we supported? And then a hub. As I mentioned in my introduction, I think connection is vital to learning. And in a hub, everything comes together. Think about a USB portal in which you connect all the USB streams. So find a place, physical or online, where you find each other and where you can exchange ideas, knowledge and skills. So I will come back to the solution later on, but before I want to sketch that the digital is here to stay. It's not a fortune cookie that we open up and it surprises us. It's not something that is in the future. It is now. And it develops quicker and quicker, of course, and therefore we have to get ourselves ready and have the right knowledge and skills. But how do we do it? We see some organizations, digital masters as we call it, they are ahead of the game. They know what to expect. They know how to develop their people in these digital technologies, in this digital mindset of adaptability and agile and growth. But we also see a big group that's on an average level. We know that digital developments are necessary. We actually do innovations. We use new technologies in our work. But how do we get our people also develop themselves? How do we enable our people to do that? And as we look in the market, we see our competitors growing. We see new concepts rising up. But we also see old concepts into new jackets. Think about the new Lion King movie that's coming up. A very old movie, but with new techniques and new technology, it looks brand new. And it fits the TV nowadays. So how are you going to do it? How do we adapt to new concepts that are coming? How do we adapt by putting our old concepts into new ones? As you can see in the picture, a vase, when it is baked or when it is molded, when the hands stop, the vase will not be perfect. It will be just a flat clay thing. But if you start to move the hands and if you keep moving, keep adapting, it will be possibly a nice vase. So that's what we have to do also in our development and in supporting our people. We need to keep shaping people, keep providing the input that they need to be ahead of the game, to be digital. But we all know that our competitors want those best people. We want the best talent in town. So how do we get the right flowers for the bouquet? And as you can see, this bouquet I've created for my sister's wedding. I was thinking quite some time what kind of flowers to use. But then I got to my sister and to a flower expert, because I'm not myself. My sister said, I want something that is symbolic. I want something that adds a personal touch to it. The expert told me what flowers I could bring. And it even got even worse, I would say. I had to go to France with all these flowers. So we added some personal touch into it by using the flower that represents the province of Zeeland. And I've used the expertise from a flower expert to find that particular flower. Where to start if I want to be digital, if I want to have my people become digital, if I want to have people who are adaptable, who search for challenges, who get the growth mindset that is needed. Start at the beginning. That sounds very plausible and very logical. So get out of the box and see what is out there. What digital developments are needed. Give support to go to the awareness phase. Are we actually aware? I don't know. I was at a high school reunion a few weeks ago. And we walked through the entire building. And of course it aged. And we aged also. But as we walked through the building and afterwards at the bar, we actually said to each other, nothing has changed. We can take a seat in the same building with the same walls and sometimes even the same paintings. But what has changed are the people within it. Learners who are more demanding, where concentration curve is maybe less. Who uses technologies in their learning. Who finds the answer more quicker than the teacher. So the focus should not be on the building itself, but on the learner. I'm very curious of what you have answered on the poll and what kind of answers you gave on the different possibilities. Was it connecting learner across an ecosystem? A one-size-fits-one? A personalized learning is main important if you want to transform people and support them? Is it more important to integrate workplace learning so they can do seamlessly work and learning at the same time? Is it most important to support them with the information that they need? Or do we want to have an adaptable environment? I'm quite curious what you have said on this poll. So think about it. And as we have looked at the poll, you can see what can be combined. In the introduction I've said, an ecosystem of connection, the right content to the right person is most important. So let's look at the poll answers first. There are actually quite surprising answers. Thank you for that. I will just go back to the other slide so you can see what kind of description it has. The main answers go for the fifth option. So deliver business with agility and speed. We want to be adaptable and we need to support that in the digital transformation. And the interventions on learning and development should support that. The second in the row is actually the design for everyday workplace learning. So it should be integrated. It should be almost seamless. And the third option you have answered is connect the learner to the ecosystem. So create a network that supports learning and development. Our new solution, the digital learning app, as I stated, is in this case an online platform where we support learning on digital topics. We integrate it into workplace learning by using a Office 365 SharePoint-based platform technology. If you're Microsoft users, you will probably know this platform. We also integrate content that is related to the context. So we use digital. For example, what is AI? What is VR? What is data? And what can I do with data in my work? What projects are running in my organization on data? How can I use data into learning? For example, what does HR think of learning analytics or HR analytics? And how can I use it? Is there a project done on sensors, on IoT, Internet of Things? And who has it done? So we add also the expert profile to it. So we can see that the colleague has done the projects and I can contact that colleague right away. I don't have to wait till there is another training course or e-learning popping up in my screen. I just do it. I can ask questions by commenting on the related topics. But what is also quite important, if you deliver for business, speed and agility as you stated, we want something that is adaptable, but also sustainable. So with a platform that is integrated into work and that can be used by anyone in the organization, we can adapt the pages. There are no difficult kind of features that we need. We can just put in an extra content page on a project. I can also do suggestions via an easy form, and it comes to the one that takes the decision. So with this adaptability, the platform can evolve over time. Some features will be very important now, but other features will fade away. But how do I know what people need in content? Well, as I stated, content comes from the people within the organization. Not only. As a learning consultant myself, I have the job to actually curate content from different sources that makes it easy to learn and also context rich. So people can apply it to their work. So people become aware of what is data. But it's also validated, for example, by experts. And as you can see in the animation, you always need to be targeted. So what's the goal of the content? Does it fit my goal? Or should we search for other content? And we can use many places of content. We can use it from the organization itself. We can ask the communication department. We can ask anyone in the organization who has something to share. We can ask experts in our organization. And we can also look for open source content that is out there. In the L&D field, we mostly say content is free. There are so many good blogs, articles, papers, videos out there that we can use. Pick the ones that serve your goal. And as said, I as a learning consultant will do that. But is learning a party of HR or learning and development? Well, actually, I don't think so. I think if we connect each other in a hub and find the ecosystems that are needed to go to the goal we're heading, we actually serve our digital development. So maybe I need something for marketing. And via the Digital Learning Hub, I can find projects that marketing has done on analytics or on customer experience. But I would like to know how to apply it to learning. So I will ask my marketing colleague for it. And in the project that we have done, we actually collected all the expertise needed to create a platform. So in this community of a project, I actually learned from a UX designer. I learned from a SharePoint expert. I learned from developers. What do they do? How do they apply technologies? Is it something for me also? Or how can I use it in the next project? And do we always have to find new information, new ecosystems, new communities? Well, maybe not. Maybe there are already quite some communities in your organization. So in an online ecosystem, we can connect the online communities that are already there. Think of a group that talks about data, but you didn't know about it. But on the Digital Learning Hub, you find the data community and you apply for it, or you comment on a statement that they do. So find the ecosystems and map those ecosystems. Make sure the ecosystems are approachable. Break the silos, as we say. And by then, we not only touched learning, but we also touch culture. Research done by Capgemini and LinkedIn shows that not only collaboration is important, but also an open culture in which you can feel free to ask other questions, in which you feel free to come up with new innovative ideas. Is it already done in your organization? Is there an open communication? Is there low-key innovation ideas? Can you provide them low-key? Or do you have to go through a whole process? Think about it. Are the technologies and systems that you use adaptable enough? Are the people who use them, do they know about it? Do they know how to use it? Can we provide them the support, how to use it in their daily work and to be adaptable as you want? But where to start? Well, start with the ones who are ahead of the game. Start with the front runners. The front runners already know what technologies will come. They live in 2022, not in 2018. They are admired by their expertise, by their know-how on the newest technologies. So focus on them, recruit them, find them, put them on the spotlight. And also look at the followers, find the people who are surrounded by them and touch point them. And is the hub then a holy grail? Is it the one to party for? Well, of course, we can learn from our successes. It is a very nice intervention to serve many purposes. But we have to choose what interventions are needed, not only online, but also physical, to create a digital DNA. What interventions do we need to get our digital DNA completed? So, as I stated earlier, there are multiple steps, or you could say, multiple phases where you go through. And the Digital Learning Hub really provides a platform to become out of the box, become aware of what there is in the organization. But if we move further, we would like to do more interventions than only that. We probably do hackathons, inspiration sessions. We would like to create a digital roadmap with our business and share it with others. We would also like to develop our people. So, see what skills are needed and what training courses we can provide for them. And we would like to integrate it into work so they really can perform and see what is needed in the near future. And some of the organizations start at the first step, out of the box. But I am aware that there are many organizations, maybe yours, that is already in the next phase. So choose the interventions that is needed in that phase. So you can provide the support that is needed for people to develop themselves in that phase towards the next level. And now we're actually at the end already of this webinar. We talked about digital developments in the environment. We have to be aware that digital is here to stay. I use technology systems every day, but during my work I think of improvements. I think of how I can challenge myself. Are we aware that the people that we work with are already changing, are already developing? Are we aware what kind of skills they need? Give them a base. Support them with interventions that help them grow. In an online manner, for example with the Digital Learning Hub. And get to know your DNA. Pinpoint what is really needed to get the digital development going and ongoing, I should say. To end this webinar, I would like to answer your questions. So the first question is, what would be the ideal target group for the Digital Learning Hub? That's a very good question. As you see, the Digital Learning Hub is an online platform, and we actually have the approach to develop it with the front runners of the organization. So we find it important to use the experts in the organization to actually create it. Also think of digital experts, but also think of UX designers or the actual end users to make user tests and to improve it in an ongoing manner. The target group can be very broad. It can be the entire organization that you want to hit. The solution that we provide on an Office 365 solution, it is targeted actually on the entire organization because everyone has instantly access to it. Thank you for the question. So the next question is, let's say I've made an investment and set up a learning hub. How do I make sure my people make use of it? How do I motivate them? That's a very interesting question because we also say at the Capgemini Academy, you can put in lots of online learning stuff into your organization. You can invest in many platforms, but without communication, without actual physical interaction, there's no need. So I would answer this question with, make sure you communicate about the platform, that you engage people in the creation of it, that you do user tests so they get to know the platform, that they also can provide new ideas to it, and make it accessible. So make it accessible, for example, on the intranet that you have, make it accessible in your favorites in the internet browser, show them by posters, by screens and stuff like that. Mention it in presentations and in inspiration sessions. So that are many interventions you could do to make it happen. The next question is, how do I make sure that not only the digital expert make use of the platform, but I want the knobs to use it too? Good question, and it also gets back a little bit to the other question on the target groups. It has to be very context rich if you want to also target the ones that are not digital themselves. And as I mentioned in the webinar, focus first on the front runners, followers, and then the slow movers, as we call it. They will follow once everybody adopts it. What you can also do, if you want to have the nopes to make use of it, make communication specifically for them. Ask them to provide them feedback. Because most of the time, the ones who are slow movers are a little bit critical. But the criticals you actually need to improve your platform and to make it adaptable, as we said, and to improve it. Well, these were the questions. I hope you had a great time listening to this webinar. If you have any questions popping up this evening or tomorrow or next week, please send me an email via the email address in the screen. You can also connect to me via LinkedIn. Just search for my name. And at the end of the webinar, we also have a survey, an evaluation. So I'm very curious of what you thought about the topic, what you thought about the webinar facilities, and please let us know, because we would like to improve the webinar technology, as we say it, also. Thank you very much.